Those car YouTubers that get the car for 2 days and review them, they're not gonna know this. These are things, if you're buying this car, you're really gonna wanna know. These are the things I dislike about this car. What's up guys? This is Lil and I's 2024 Toyota LandCruiser LC250 Prado. And for the last 10 months, we've been burning around Australia in this thing, towing heavy caravans, going up and down the beach, off-road, doing all the silly things that LandCruisers are built for. So now, I feel confident in giving you guys a real-world review and answering all your burning questions like, do I regret buying this car? And also, if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna update you guys on our other 2 projects that we have going on. Alrighty, so first thing, I'm gonna walk you guys around this whole car and tell you exactly the modifications that's been done to it. We have a few other videos where we modified this car on the channel, and if you want to go check them out, I'll link them here and here. But a few other things have gone on this car which I haven't filmed and put them in different videos. Or maybe this is your first time watching this channel, so if it is, definitely hit the subscribe button because we always put out good content. I hope. But yeah, let's walk around this car, hey? All right, so as we look at the front of this car, it is still stock because it looks so good. And I'm just scared of putting a bull bar on it and ruining how good it looks. Such a head turn in this car, and I know obviously being stock, then it just looks like everyone else's, but I don't know, I just don't think there's a better looking car out there. I mean, in the 4-wheel drive world anyway. It's just so good. And like, how good does it look like with the big Toyota badge and stuff? Now, you probably can't see it, but there is a bush wrap strip along the front of this, so I don't care about doing that. The strip only comes to around here, and then the rest of the bonnet backwards from there is unwrapped, but this piece here along there is wrapped. These aren't wrapped. I would like to wrap them, but they're not part of the bush wraps kit. And I understand why, because most people have bull bars and stuff. And yeah, we'll talk bull bars in a bit when we get to the section where I talk about the modifications that I want to do to this car. And I think that if you were maybe purchasing your own Prado would be a good idea as well. Now, as we come along the side of the car here, woo! You can see I have a United, whatever you want to call it. I call it Uniden. I've just heard people calling it United recently. Yeah, I've got this Uniden whip here. The UHF module is inside. I'll show you guys that later. And it's got a Pirate Campco mount on it, which is a stealth mount on the side here. So it's not just drilled into the into the plastic here. There's actually a big mount that's bolted onto the body inside there, and then it just drills through the plastic so that it's all hidden and stealth. Now we have pretty much my favorite part of the car. As you can see here, these are the ATI, I think they're XO1s. They're a hybrid beadlock wheel. They're 17" by 8.5, and they are a positive 30 offset, I'm pretty certain. And the tires on this are a Maxxis Razor. They're a 305 70/17. That's right. Epic wheel and tire size for this car. I mean, probably if you're doing a lot of towing, it might be a little bit big. And contrary to popular belief and news.com, this is still the standard suspension in this car. Moving along down the side of the car, like I said, the whole car is bush wrapped, and that's why it looks so good. And scratch, scratch, scratch. No one cares. Over the top of the bush wraps, I have, this is called the REMORSE body stripe, and you get them at Touge, or as I've been told, Toge Nation, which is an online website. So they just print the stickers out and send them to you. I don't think they were that much, to be honest. I think they were $400 or something. And I installed them myself. This is the second set of stickers that I've had on this car, because the first ones I put on there and they were wonky, and then I pull them off, and then I put bush wraps on, and then I put new set of stickers over the top. And I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest. This car looks 1,000 times better with the stickers on. When it doesn't have the stickers on, it just, I mean, it looks good still, but I just think personally the stickers set it off so much. They suit the car. You should be able to get them from Toyota like this, I reckon. Although, I do like having the only Prado with grey stripes. Up top here, we have the Bush Company XT 180 awning. Now, the reason we only have a 180 and not a 270 is because the back door opens, and if you had a 270, then you wouldn't be able to open the back door when it was wrapped around. And because it's a full length back door, you sort of get that bit of shade underneath it anyway, so it sort of makes your awning, it's like part of the awning, yeah? And then, yeah, up on top we have the Rhino Rack, like platform rack. This thing looks so sick, like super stealth. And it's a full length rack as well. I've noticed that there's a few other Prados getting around with like a half rack. Obviously because they've got a sunroof, they can't have a full rack. But yeah, I just think that it looks so much better with a full rack on it. Like it just suits it. I don't know, it looks so good. This, I mean, you probably get it by now. I think this car looks so good. Now, coming around to the back of this car, a lot of people don't know, but the Prados actually open like that if you wish, which is cool, or they open like that. Now, I cannot turn the beep off, and I'm probably sure that it's like a legal requirement that you have to have the beep on, probably. The beep on this is actually pretty quiet. It's not that bad. I've got it turned right down, but it just sounds really loud on the camera because it's a beep and the microphones pick it up. Anyway, in the back here, I have a full false floor from falsefloors.com. So those guys actually installed this for me. This actual floor that's in here is a prototype floor. It's like one of the first ones they built. So since then they've sort of redefined them and, you know, made a few changes, but they're pretty much the same. So that gives you a heap more room and also covers up the fact that there is 7 seats in the back here. So like I said, there's supposed to be 7 seats in here, and this is registered as a 7-seater. Now, I know that there's so many different laws in different states and all that territories, all that kind of stuff on removing the rear seats out of your car. Now, where I got this done in South Australia, if you take the rear seats out of your car with hand tools and you leave the seat belts in, technically you're allowed to have your seats out of the car, but I'm guessing when it goes back to get put over the pits, it still has to have the seats back in it. But you can have them out temporarily, I'm pretty certain. Like I said, this all, you know, goes with different states and all that kind of stuff. If I was to pull the seat belts out, then it would have to be mod plated. And if I do get it mod plated, then it has to have the seat belts out. It can't have them in there. I mean, that's just something to watch out when you do your own, but yeah, pretty much the way that I read the law, if you can take the seats out with basic hand tools, and a grinder is not a basic hand tool, like, you know, just a few spanners or whatever, then technically you can have them out if you leave the seat belts in. But yeah, so underneath the floor, I have all of my iTech World battery stuff. So I have a DC-DC 40 charger in there, a 200 amp hour super slim battery, AC-DC 25. What else is in there? I can't remember, but there's still room in there for everything else. The hybrid battery and the like controller for all that kind of stuff is under there as well. And that all fits, you know, in under there. Yeah, you lose a bit of space, but it's not that bad. This is the Evercool 40 litre drawer fridge. Really nice fridge. And it just sort of has a box around it to protect it. On the back side of it, I have the iTech World 2000 watt inverter behind there, just mounted on the back of the fridge. Well, the fridge box. Up here we have a Pirate Camp Co. think this is called like a drop down cargo rack or whatever. So it's on like gas struts, and that's really nice. You can lock it so it doesn't pull down, but I've never had it come down. I keep these little first aid kits in there, which have these sort of bits to go on those molly panels. So I should be able to actually strap these up under there or on the back on the cargo rack, but I just haven't got around to it, to be honest. Now underneath the car here, we got some airbags in there. They're looking a little bit worse for wear, but this car does have some airbags in the back, so it's still stock springs and stock shocks, but yeah, just some airbags inside the coils to help it for when we were towing. Pretty much since I've stopped towing with it, since we sold our caravan, I haven't really needed to pump them up, because I haven't really been towing much with it. And when we have our boat on the back, it doesn't even need them up. It goes fine. So here I have a Rhino Rack shovel holder. Now this is a different shovel holder to what I had on it originally. I ended up changing it over. I had the big shovel holder on it, which could hold a high lift jack as well. And it was cool, it was great, but it was just a really big mount. So I've now opted for this smaller, like more sleek mount. So that's on there. Also have the Max Trax holders up there. They're the Max Trax Extremes. Now here's a tip for you guys when you're getting your Max Trax and you're deciding on your Max Trax. Oh, I pretty much just normal Max Trax, but these little studs here are metal. Now that's wicked, because you'll buy one set of Max Trax and you won't ever have to buy another set. Fantastic, I know. But what I will say is that if you spin your wheels on these, and I know that it says right here, do not spin, right there, do not spin wheels, they will shred your tires. So it's sort of one of those things where, do I buy the cheap Max Trax and then they just burn up when I'm using them and I'm in a situation where I cannot get my tires to not spin on them and put all these cuts in my tires? Or do I use my Max Trax as sacrificial, but then you ruin your Max Trax? But yeah, I didn't know that. I would always probably choose these Extremes from now on, just because it means I don't have to buy another Max Trax set again. But just be warned, they do shred tires. Now onto the interior of this car. First thing you can see here, we have the Uniden X-Track UHF. Now, it does have this cord here, which I've been meaning to hook up. It's like a pass-through to go right through here. I just haven't got around to it. I have too much other stuff going on with all my other projects that I've just left it here. And to be honest, this never comes off this mount. This is a Pirate Camco mount right here. And pretty much as I drive, if I ever want to talk, I just go like that and talk. And I don't need to move it off there. This is a really, really nice UHF. And it's the first one I've ever had with the replay function. That is so good when you like to listen to music and then someone says something, then you can turn your music down, press the replay, you can hear it properly, and then you can reply, rather than the whole, sorry mate, I didn't catch that, and wasting other people's time. You'll also notice as well here, we have the Bedrock liners, these floor mats. These things are worth their weight in gold. The Prado comes with really good mats in it anyway, and so I thought, I wouldn't really need to, you know, upgrade them. But once I got these, unreal. Like, they are so, so good. And they have a lifetime warranty plus Australian made. And I love Australian made products. We also have a little TPMS here. So this model doesn't have tire pressure monitoring inbuilt in the car. I'm pretty certain it probably does in the upper models, but yeah, not in this one. And also the benefit of this TPMS that I have here, which is the iCheck one. This one also does the caravan. So I know what's happening with the caravan, and you know, it does like wheel bearing temperatures and all that kind of stuff. So this, if you're towing, is a must, getting one of these iCheck ones. I highly, highly recommend them. Okay, now we're getting to the exciting part. These are things that I would like to do to this car in the future. And if you're building your own Prado, get your pen and paper out. No, don't copy me. I like mine to look like mine. But might give you an idea of what you want. Bar work on the front. I just really don't want to ruin the look of this car. Now, a lot of companies are coming out with a really, like a low bar that sort of keeps the whole shape. More than likely the way that I'll go. There's a lot of companies in the US doing it. I know that Ironman have a raid bar, which I've really been looking at. And so it means that you can fit a winch and it basically just comes along here and you can get your winch in there. More than likely is probably something I'll do. Now, I know that people, you know, you have your bull bar on to protect you from animals and stuff like that. I probably shouldn't say this because touch wood, but in the last 2.5 years that I've driven around Australia, I haven't hit any animals in the last 100,000 Ks. And I think it's probably because I don't really drive at night. I don't know why I just jinxed myself then. Secondly, up here, I really want to do the round headlight upgrade. Well, it's sort of like almost a downgrade realistically because the round headlight is in the base models on the American version. Now, we didn't get the round headlights here, and I'm pretty certain that you can convert them and then you got to buy the genuine lights to change them over. I've priced it up, it's about $2,000 that I can find. If anyone has a cheaper alternative on doing that, let me know in the comments, please, because I would love to go circle lights. But it's also $2,000 for something that does nothing but looks good. And that's why I haven't done it. Now, as you probably noticed, the car doesn't have any lights either. So I would really like to put a light bar, but with circle lights, well, or individual lights, I guess you would say. So, you know, like 5 sort of spotties across the front, like similar to like a Baja design sort of light bar. Again, the reason I haven't done that is because it's very expensive. So that is on the wish list at the moment. A snorkel on this car would be nice as well. I'd love to put a stainless one on it. That's probably the next thing that will go on this car, a snorkel. That's the front, like, of the build list of the of what's most important for this car, a snorkel. Now, like I said, this car is still on stock suspension. Do I want to upgrade the suspension? I do, definitely, but I also sort of like that it's low. I don't want to go massive on this. I think that with it sort of low, it makes it look really tough. And recently I just installed these bash plates on it from Bay House, and then I'm hoping to get a set of sliders for it as well. And with everything sort of protected underneath, I don't really feel like I want to put a huge lift in this car. I just want it to sort of be low and wide. I'd love to put some sort of flares on the car and get the tires even wider so that it was sort of, you know, really planted. I really like that about the car, like how it feels. It doesn't ever feel tippy, like it doesn't feel like it's gonna roll when you're off-road. I feel very confident in it. So definitely a set of sliders. Yeah, I'll get some suspension. I have recently just been thinking about getting some 2-inch spacers just to put in the front. That's probably on a wish list, to be honest, but right now I've got a few other things on my list of projects and it doesn't need it. Now, the last thing that I want for this car is a rear tire carrier. Now, the 33s that are on it, they don't fit up underneath the back of the car. So I would love to put a tire carrier on this. Whether I get a rear bar or not, I don't know. But I think it's gonna have to be a custom one because I really want to get the tire like straight up and round here and angled back. So, you know, it's sort of a bit of like a hot boy tire carrier. And I know it'd probably be very inconvenient, and more than likely it's probably gonna have to fold down like that onto the ground. But You got to make sacrifices for fashion. But yeah, not really anything else that I really want to do to it. I mean, a rear bar for protection would be fantastic, but it's just not high on my list. All right, so now it's time to answer a lot of your questions. So we constantly get messages on Instagram about this car and a lot of the things that I've told you about, but a lot of burning questions that you guys have. And I just thought I'd go through the most common ones that we get for this car. Okay, massive one, which has stopped now. But at the start, why didn't we buy an Everest? They're cheaper and more powerful. Now, that's an interesting question. Why didn't we buy an Everest? And because, sorry to all the Everest owners out there, but I wouldn't buy an Everest, I would buy a Ranger. Because you're buying, when you're buying an Everest, it's a Ranger, it's a dual cab ute at the front with a small enclosed tray. I would buy a Ranger and put a canopy on it and I would have more room. I don't know why people compare these cars to the Everests. I think that the Everest would be more in line with a Fortuner. I would more compare this car to the 300 and the Patrol. They're more in that ballpark, I would say, of like price range and luxury. Yeah, of course, it's not going to be as good as a 300 series. Why would Toyota make it better than a 300 series? Because then you wouldn't buy the 300 series, obviously. It's sort of like in that weird no man's land in between an Everest and a 300. I would, class the Everest with an MUX and, like I said, the Fortuner and the Pajero maybe. Yeah, I just would have bought a V6 Ranger. It would have been more suited. There's a big reason about why I would buy a Ranger over an Everest, but we'll talk about that in another question. But to answer that question, I bought this because of the looks, the luxury, also probably because of aftermarket support. These vehicles are all around the world. A lot of stuff you can get from the US for this because they make these cars in the US, which just gives you so many more possibilities for customization, which is basically what I'm buying the car for. If I was buying the cars to keep stock, then yeah, they'd be a lot more comparable. But I'm buying a car to modify it and make it my own. And I want the biggest aftermarket support that I can.
Also, just want to add in that I don't dislike the Everest. I still think they're a really good car. Like, they're fantastic, just not for me. I still think they're a really good car. If you've got one, good on you. I just think that maybe what I said came out as if I was an Everest hater. And I'm not an Everest hater, I think they're a good car.
What's the 48 volt system like, and can you tap into it to use it as a second battery? So having the 48 volt system has not been a problem at all for me. I don't know whether it works or not. It's sort of fun seeing the battery charge up on the dash and telling you that it's giving you a bit of a boost, but you cannot feel it really. I do like the fact that the 48 volt motor starts the car. When you start the car in the morning, for example, it uses a starter motor, you can hear it. But when you're at the lights, the 48 volt motor like turns the motor over, I guess, and the motor's just on. Like, it doesn't have that, like the starter motor, like it's on, you just start driving. It's a strange feeling, but it's really nice and smooth. I really like that. Now, whether you can tap into the 48 volt system for battery charging or use it to run your fridge or whatever, I personally, if I was you and you had a Prado, I wouldn't even bother doing that because you're going to lose all your warranty and you might make the system unreliable. I'm sure that a new 48 volt battery from Toyota is a lot more expensive than if you were just going to get a normal second battery. And there's no difference setting up a second battery in this to a normal car. I literally just run a cable from the start battery back to a DC-DC charger like you would do with any normal 12 volt system. I just think it would be very expensive and not worth it. It's not something that I've ever looked into. Another question is AdBlue usage. Does the car use much AdBlue? I don't know exactly how much it does, but it lasts about 6,000 Ks to the 14 litre tank. So it's like every 5,000 Ks I'll put AdBlue in it. And it costs about $20 in AdBlue to fill it up. So maybe an extra $40 between servicing of AdBlue. It doesn't bother me. I'm sure that AdBlue is good for the environment and everything else in this world. So I'm super happy to use AdBlue. It is not a problem. Another question. Have we had any gearbox issues? Obviously you guys have seen a lot of videos where the gearbox will get hot in this car. And pretty much every time it would get hot would be when we were stuck and in low range and going very slow towing our caravan. Or if the car was in crawl control, for example, when it's basically using the computer to lock up the brakes to sort of make it fully locked, like without having diff locks, the way crawl control works. It's just this fancy little system. And it puts a lot of pressure and heat on the gearbox. Now, I've always stopped when the gearbox gets too high. It has the transmission temperature on the dash in here, which is really good. So I'll just watch that and then I just stop and let the car cool down. It is a little bit annoying, definitely. Yes, you could fit a transmission cooler on this. The thing is that the problem isn't when I'm towing really fast, which is where a transmission cooler would come into its own because it's getting a lot of airflow over it. It's in really low speed situations like where I'm bogged. So unless I was going to fit a transmission cooler with a fan on it, I just don't think that it would really help that situation. But yeah, anyway, it's not really a problem anymore. It works. I just stop after a while. Like it's only happened a handful of times and it's not really been a problem. 99% of people buying this car will never have that problem because they're never going to put their car into that situation. I'm just pushing the limits of it. Yeah, I don't think it's an issue, personally. Here's a big one. Does the car squeal in reverse? And yes, it does. It squeals like everyone else's Prado. Everyone's Prado squeals in reverse. The brakes squeal. I don't really care about that. It's just a Toyota thing, I feel. A lot of Land Cruisers do that. I know that people are going to Toyota and telling them to fix the issue. I've heard that if you drive really fast in reverse and go on the brakes, that it will bed the brakes backwards and then they won't squeal as much. I don't know. Maybe you try that out and let me know in the comments if that works. Yeah, it's annoying, but it is what it is. Doesn't matter. It squeals. It's just the way that the brakes are. Squeals in reverse. All right, here's one we get asked all the time. Did we get this car for free? Now, the reason people ask this question is because we were the first people in Australia to get this car. And there was a huge wait on them at the time, almost 2 years. And I mean, I don't know if you're still waiting for yours now, but I don't think people are. I think they've sort of caught up to them. But yeah, there was a massive wait on them and we got ours on the day. They came out, I can't remember, whatever the date it was, we picked ours up at 10 o'clock in the morning on the release date. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought that we got this car for free. No, we didn't get the car for free. I wish. It would be fantastic. And you know what? If I got this car for free, I wouldn't be posting about how it broke. Oh no! I wouldn't be posting about how I have gearbox issues. I wouldn't be posting about how I have computer issues. Nothing happens. Won't turn off. I mean, I'd probably be posting saying this is the best car ever. Well, it is the best car ever. Spoiler alert. I don't think that I'd be allowed to post all that kind of stuff if I got the car for free. Also, people need to remember that we are a very small YouTube channel. We only have 30,000 followers, like 30,000 subscribers. That's not massive. You know, we don't get many views. Why would Toyota give us a $90,000 car for free? Very strange for some people to think that, but yeah. I mean, I really wish it was true. If I could have that $90,000 in my pocket and still have this thing, I'd be very, very happy. But no, we didn't get the car for free. Now, here's things that people like critics and all those car YouTubers that get the car for 2 days and review them, they're not gonna know this. These are things, if you're buying this car, you're really gonna wanna know. These are the things I dislike about this car. You have to pay for the Toyota Pass, like the Toyota app, to have remote start and tracking and all that kind of stuff on this car. Now, I owned a Ford Ranger before that, and that is free. If you have that car, Ford offers that app for free. You can always remote start that. Now, when we bought this car, they gave us a 1-year subscription, and after that runs out, you have to pay if you want to remote start your car. That is not good. That's stupid. So I don't even know if I'm going to pay for it, to be honest, which is that sucks. Like, I'm going to have this car with this function that I can't use unless I pay for the subscription. That, I think, is ridiculous. You're paying such a premium for a Toyota vehicle and they're putting that on top. That is not good. Second thing that people will not tell you about this car, it is not the best tow vehicle in the world. Now, I know that you're probably thinking, what the hell? That's crazy. You bought this car as a tow vehicle. And yes, I did. And I'm not talking about this car in particular. I'm probably talking as well about like 300s and 200s. There is a small design flaw in these cars to use them as towing vehicles, and that is the wheelbase. People that have driven other cars and, you know, towed with different vehicles, you should know this. But a lot of people, you may have only towed with your 200 or your 300 or your Prado, and you wouldn't understand this. But having a vehicle that has a longer wheelbase will always tow better. It's physics. It's not going to be able to get pushed around as much. And going back to that question, why didn't I buy a Ford Everest? It's because I would buy the Ranger with a longer wheelbase because it would be better for towing. There's no problems with towing with this. And again, with your 300 or your 200, the power, all that kind of stuff, it's going to work. It's going to do it. They're great. And even, you know, the 100 series and the 80 series, they're all the same wheelbase. That all the LandCruisers, except for obviously the older Prados, like the 150s and stuff, they are all the same wheelbase. So this has the same wheelbase as an 80 series, a 100 series, a 200 and a 300. They're all the same. So I know that these cars have this same issue because mine does. They get pushed around with a big caravan on the back. You just don't have the wheelbase. You can imagine the longer the wheelbase of the car, the harder it's going to be for something to push it around. It's going to be more planted on the road. And that's just physics. The car itself has no problems with towing. It has enough power. Like, it's comfortable to be in with a trailer on the back. The suspension's good with the airbags. I'm not doubting any of that with any of these other LandCruisers. It's just something with a longer wheelbase will always feel more safer on the road. And that's something that the critics don't know. Now, the other thing that I don't like about this car, again, is it's not great for touring. A wagon is just not set up for touring. You just don't have the room in the back. There's no room. Like, I mean, you guys saw in the back, I can't fit anything in there. When we swapped to this car, and we swapped from our Ranger with our canopy, it was a huge change. We had so much stuff in that canopy that we could fit and take places, and that car was just so easy to be used as itself, as a touring vehicle without towing a caravan. And then when we changed to this, it's not the same. Like, it's not as functionable. It's physically smaller. You can't fit as much stuff in it. A ute you can change and have a big canopy on the back, and, you know, you can make it wider, and like the footprint of the inside, the volume of the inside of a car with a canopy, a ute with a canopy, sorry, is so much larger than a wagon. And you can't deny that. Now, as a car to be used as a tow vehicle and towing a caravan where you don't need to have all the stuff built into your car as a tourer, this car takes the cake. It is so comfortable to be in a wagon. They're a luxury vehicle. They're just a Utes never going to be like that. They're built for tradies. They're built for job sites. Whereas this car is built to be a luxury vehicle. It's so much nicer to ride in than a Ute. And that's just what they're built for. So I would still use this and choose this to tow a big caravan, because you don't need everything in the car. Like the way the car's set up now, it's perfect for day trips when you're traveling around, doing whatever you want to do. But touring in this vehicle without anything, or even towing like a small caravan, I would choose a Ute with a canopy, 100%. No, I'm hating on it. And now you know that we didn't get this car for free, because I wouldn't be pointing out all these flaws, would I? And all you LandCruiser owners are probably going to hate me because you think that yours is the ultimate touring vehicle, and you know what? It probably is for you. And you know what? This is for me as well. This is the ultimate touring vehicle towing a caravan. This is not the ultimate touring vehicle on its own. It's just not. Alrighty guys, you made it this far in the video. Good on you. As promised, I said I'd update you guys on what's happening with our other two cars. And here she is, the Hilux. It's still here, it still goes. I still love it. Pretty much, it's got new headlights after the West Coast trip when they weren't really working. I have actually stolen the speakers out of it. It's still here, it still goes. It's still a great car. But yeah, there's been other projects, as you guys know, the Troopy. But I did get my hands on a tub for it. So I've got a tub. You guys may remember that we dropped it on its side, and I've got most of the dent out of the door, but I do actually have a whole nother door for it as well. So I've got a tub and a door, and yeah, it's just finding the time for this. It's so sick, and I eventually want to do something with it, but right now I think that it's probably going to go on the back burner. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. I can't tell you when I'm going to work on it, but I will say I will do another trip in it this year for sure. Where to, I don't know, but I will take it out this year. I can promise you that. It just wants to. Look at it. It's just tough. Now, if you're not a follower of the channel, then this is our 1999 Troopy, which we're currently renovating. Now this thing is, oh, hang on, let me unlock it. This is really coming along. So preparations are underway for this thing to be ready. There will hopefully be another Troopy episode, build episode next week. But yeah, we're really getting there. I'm doing all the doors and all that kind of stuff on the cabinets at the moment. Looks like the floor's in at the moment. Well, what doesn't look like it, it is. I don't want to spoil the fun. I really don't. But there is a bench top back there as well that looks like it's going in, and my snow gear because I went snowboarding the other day. But yeah, the Troopy is moving along. Actually, speaking of the Troopy, you guys might get a chance to see it in probably a month and a half at the Sydney 4-Wheel Drive show. More than likely, the Troopy will be there on display and it'll be finished. Yeah, I said it, finished. Well, really, really close. So you guys will be able to check that out. I think it's like September 12th to the 14th in Sydney. I still have to drive it there as well. To finish off the video, I love this car. It's just so good. If you're thinking about buying one, 100%, I would definitely get one. They're a beautiful car. They're so nice to drive. It looks so good. It's such a head turner. I mean, just look at it. It's so tough. They just look unreal. And the pearl white is just epic. It's such a nice color. Look at that. It's one of the nicest colors I've ever seen, to be honest. But yeah, as always, guys, thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. So does Lil. I promise that she'll be back soon. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next week.